Hi there, Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. Welcome to our most recent episode of Secret War on Cash, Secret War on Your Cash. And joining us again, we have our Senior Account Representative, Chris Agelastos. Welcome back, Chris.
Thank you. Good to be here.
Good to see you. Always nice to see your smiling face. So let's get right into it. On your screen, for those of you viewing, you can see a recent article talking about how Citigroup, who is referred to as a banking giant, is getting ready to start using blockchain technology to transform clients' deposits into tokens. Now, as I read this, the reasons they listed, they seem to be good ones. They were going to speed up transfer times of deposits, clear times, convenience, a few other things, which, again, I would agree sound really good in concept or theory. But as good as it all sounds, I also started thinking, Chris, about what we know as well as what we don't know about blockchain. For instance, it wasn't long ago, if I remember correctly, billions of dollars worth of people's wealth literally evaporated from their digital currency accounts with no way of tracking it down.
Yeah.
Then, just a few days ago, Rasen Lasipov, I believe is how you pronounce the name, was just sentenced to 10 years for conspiring to defraud investors with his crypto exchange. That was all over the news. Mm-hmm. So I guess what I'm trying to say, Chris, is it seems like for every benefit given to support the use of cryptos, there seems to be equally as many, if not more, holes as to why not get involved with them. I mean, when it comes to my money, I want as few holes as possible, or even better yet, like right. None at all. I mean, what do you make of this recent announcement by Citi?
Yeah, well, I mean, they're kind of jumping on the bandwagon, right? JP Morgan, Chase, they're working on crypto as well. Obviously, we've all heard of Bitcoin and all these other offerings out there. So it is kind of the way things are going, but you notice, like you mentioned in this article, right? They never really talk about the pitfalls so much. Does it make some things maybe easier or quicker? Sure, but is quicker and easier always the better way? I know. As a child, my father told me all the time, not to try and take the easy way out. So, I think in this case, when you talk about the potential to be hacked, stolen identity, right? Computers crashing, something that isn't tangible and can completely disappear. Those are some risks that, albeit they may not happen to everybody, but when it's you that it happens to, it's going to be a big problem. And, is it okay to maybe have a little bit of crypto or dabble in it? Well, sure. But is this the sort of thing that you want to trust your nest egg to? Not me. And I don't think most of America.
Yeah, I would agree. I mean, it's, I would suspect, just based on, the interactions that we have with customers of ours and, people I've talked to socially, people who are very astute in terms of investing and in terms of finances. There is this cloud of uncertainty or the unknown that even people who literally work in like financial planning, financial services for a living, when it comes to cryptos, digital currencies. And I find it so interesting, like these banks are somewhat matter-of-factly just say, oh yeah, we're gonna delve into this world. And to your point, yes, that's kind of the way things are moving, but goodness gracious, I mean, it's something that, like I say, there just seems to be more holes than not when it comes to cryptos, the unknowns, the uncertainties, and some of the problems. So it's very interesting. Thanks for sharing that, Chris. And now in other banking news, we discussed on one of our previous podcasts this very unfortunate recent trend of banks freezing bank accounts of tax-paying citizens who have legally obtained these monies from completely traceable sources. And one of the most recent ones is now Wells Fargo. Unfortunately, in this case, Wells is being referenced in the manner of a scandal. And it seems somewhat unbelievable, these reports that continue to come out and it certainly has not just been Wells Fargo, of these reports of what banks have done in terms of like basically seizing assets, or
Yeah.
they like people's accounts evaporating. I mean, imagine waking up one day, going online to check your bank balance, only to find that your funds are gone. And from pretty
Yeah.
much everything I've seen, Chris, there is no hurry on the bank's part to get these funds back to the people or get these situations resolved.
Right.
So, can you explain, what exactly is going on in these situations, and do you have any insight or suggestions as to what people can do to prevent this, or are there other alternatives to be explored?
Yeah, absolutely. And in this case, in this particular article, this is a gentleman that received an inheritance from his mother. She passed away and left him this money, and he deposited the check. He specifically opened the account in Wells Fargo to deposit this, windfall for him, a couple $100,000. And they declared that Wells Fargo said they felt that the check was forged somehow. So he went back to the financial institution that issued the check to him and got a statement from them in a letter stating that it was legitimate. And Wells Fargo is still keeping firm to holding his money hostage. So he's now had to sue them. And we've talked about this before, but it's not exactly easy as the average individual to go after one of these, banking giants. They have countless lawyers, I'm sure, on retainer for them. How does the average person fight that? And I think this is just another example. I mean, we've seen it with Bank of America, the U.S. Treasury Direct, recently Green Dot
Right.
Bank, and I think it's a matter of time before this is coming to a bank near you, right? Maybe it hasn't happened to you or your bank yet, but it very well could. And I think this is a prime example of what we tell people all the time is don't keep all of your eggs in one basket. I mean,
Sure.
I keep funds in two different bank accounts, with two different banks, excuse me. So I have kind of my mortgage and my big bill money in one bank, and I have my living expenses in another bank. And I just see that as if I do have a problem with one of them, hopefully I at least have a little bit that I can access in another account. I think also, maybe having a little cash on hand for a rainy day. Well, until crypto takes over and we're not allowed to have cash, right?
Right.
And then also gold. I don't think people realize. Let's say you just needed a little emergency fund. Maybe this is a problem that the bank will figure out in a couple months' time instead of 6 months or a year. But let's say you need a little bit of money for a month or two or three until something corrects itself within the banking system. People don't realize, $10,000 worth of gold, which is something outside of the banking system, is like the size of your iPhone, right? I mean, you can have this in your pocket and hardly know that it's there. And so I just think, again, the old adage, don't have all your eggs in one basket, have money in different places, be prepared, hope you never need it. But if this happens to you, you sure are going to be glad that you had a backup plan.
Yeah, it's interesting, Chris. The first article we discussed with these banks making this move or this transition into the crypto world for their customers. Um, the
Yeah.
conventional or traditional means or methods of banking, people's money is evaporating, which is exactly the concern with getting into cryptos, which is a far less traceable or trackable place to have your
Right.
money. I mean,
Yep.
of all time, in fact, in one of our earlier podcasts, I believe we mentioned, or it may have been in one of our e-newsletters we send out, where the BBB is taking record number of complaints of people who are having their bank accounts frozen in this same regard or capacity.
Right.
And to have that happen and then yet them to be discussing this transition into cryptos it's actually somewhat mind-blowing. But
Yeah,
that's where
we're already having problems, right? Let's go ahead and take more control away from the consumer, and you can trust us. Nothing will go wrong. Yeah.
it's unbelievable. Well, thank you for that information, Chris. And for those tuning in, if you're listening to this podcast, actually, If you'd like a free copy of our report, The Secret War, very valuable information in there. Forewarned is forearmed, if as they say. You can get a free copy of that by clicking on the hot link in the description of the podcast. For those of you watching this, as you see, you can contact our office at 1-800-289-2646, 1-800-289-2646. You can actually request the free copy of Secret War, or if you'd like maybe information on what's involved with getting involved in gold, you can ask for that as well. We have many people who have been moving things like their IRAs and the retirement plans partially into gold. So anything like that you need, please feel free and contact our office or go to our website at SwissAmerica.com. That's www.SwissAmerica, all one word, .com. So thanks for tuning in to this recent episode here of The Secret War on Cash. Again, thank you, Chris. I'm Dean Heskin, President and CEO of Swiss America Trading. And until next time, keep yourself safe. Look at getting some of this information and putting yourself and your family in a much better protected place financially.